vessels of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Guns will be taken, and no one will be able to be armed. We're going to take all weapons.
For many of the police and guard troops, it is an uncomfortable job to do this in an American city.
Is global governance at last? Is it one world, the central bankers in charge? But aren't we all just living and dying for what the central banks do?
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. It is Wednesday, October 30th, 2013, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, DHS buys more weapons to use against Americans. Then, gun grabbers change their aim from assault rifles to toy guns. And Sebelius feels the heat as healthcare.gov crashes and burns. That's next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
You think I'm like you little frickin' coward? You think I'd sell my family out like you, dirtbag? You think I'm frickin' stoned like you? You think I'm a coward like you?
Who is in charge, Madam Secretary?
The person now in charge as an integrator is QSSI, one of our...
Who was in charge as it was being built?
Was in charge up till...
At that team, who is the individual?
Michelle Snyder is the...
Michelle Snyder is the one responsible for this debacle.
Well, excuse me, Congresswoman, Michelle Snyder is not responsible for the debacle. Hold me accountable for the debacle. Okay. I'm responsible.
Well, Drudge Report is calling her the most hated woman in America right now, but I can think of a few other women there in Washington that deserve that title more than Kathleen Sebelius, but nevertheless, she continues to be the punchline as healthcare.gov continues to be the big joke that it is. Now, Sebelius was set to testify before Congress today about the issues the website is having, and wouldn't you know it, the site crashed just minutes before she was set to testify. But still, during her testimony today, Secretary Sebelius claimed the website never crashed. It is functional, but at a very slow speed and very low reliability.
It's clearly a hypothetical situation.
Oh, are you,
that
do you say,
allows
wait,
people to...
okay, on the C plans now option, are you saying this is a hypothetical? That's not what it says on the site. It says this is the price when you put in your age. And if your age is 49, it quotes you as if you're 27.
So they never asked you to delay the launch date?
They did not. And frankly, I think it is not valuable at this point.
Right.
To do a lot of pointing blame, fixing the blame. What I want to do is fix the problem.
And so do I.
We need the whole team to move ahead, and we will report back regularly.
Right, but we're relying on these contractors who fix this.
You accepted a risk on behalf of every user of this computer that put their personal financial information at risk because you did not even have the most basic end-to-end test on security of this system.
Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. Well, Madam Secretary, while you're from Kansas, we're not in Kansas anymore. Some might say that we are actually in the Wizard of Oz land, given the parallel universes we appear to be habitating. Mr. Waxman and most of those on the Democrat side think things are great.
You know, my Republican colleagues' actions here remind me of a story I read when I was a little boy, and that's the story of Chicken Little, who ran around yelling, "The sky is falling, the sky is falling." But unlike Chicken Little, my Republican colleagues are actually rooting for the sky to fall.
The application process at this point does not work end to end.
Right.
Very
I understand
well,
it doesn't
and
work.
we
That's
do not
obvious.
have reliable data. I just said,
No, you said if we can do it.
no, I think we can do that is what I said.
think or I know we can do it.
Sir, I can't tell you what I don't know.
During the testimony, the focus on Obamacare shifted from the faulty website to the fact that millions of Americans are losing the insurance that President Obama repeatedly and over 2 elections promised them that they could keep. But don't worry, if you're one of those millions who've been dropped from your health insurance, Democrat Sander Levin said insurance companies aren't sending out cancellation notices. They're helping you transition into Obamacare. Now, Obama can say he didn't know that millions would lose their health insurance, but of course he knew, because single-payer health care under the federal government has been the plan all along. But Senator Levin isn't the only one who is using doublespeak to describe Obamacare. The White House is ordering insurance companies not to criticize Obamacare and threatening retribution against the executives who don't keep quiet. CNN reporter Drew Griffin explained that the Obama administration is trying to keep a lid on the dirty little secret that millions of Americans are losing their coverage as a result of Obamacare, illustrating how Obama blatantly lied when he made assurances that people could keep their existing policy. Griffin says the insurance industry is embarrassed about the cancellations, but said they warned the administration about this very scenario and they ignored the advice.
One of the things I think that's clear here is the Obama administration has no trust in anything the health insurance industry tells them about how to run a health plan. And I think the administrative mess you're seeing right now is indicative of what happens when somebody tries to run somebody else's business who thinks they're smarter than you are.
Griffin also suggested that insurance companies are obeying the White House gag order because it is the federal government who is the largest customer for the insurance companies. And just because you might be a civilian doesn't mean that you're safe from those think surveys. A new Japanese prototype wearable technology will help advertisers nestle into your gray matter. Radiation be damned, because this iPhone rig is attached to your head, and it comes with a brainwave scanner to record what interests you. And you thought those Google glasses were nerdy looking. Now stick around, because coming up after the break, David Knight has a special report on the government's latest efforts to sabotage the Second Amendment, and then we'll be debuting the Season 2 of Conrad the Constitution.
Howdy there, new neighbor. Oh, you're a turd. No, I'm not a turd. I'm the Affordable Care Act. But you can call me Obamacare.
Another day, another $1 million spent on weapons to be used against Americans. This time, the Department of Homeland Security signals its intent to spend $500,000 purchasing pepper spray projectiles, pepper spray launchers, and riot expansion kits. Now, although the weapons are being purchased by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the document makes it clear that they will be used to train Federal Protective Service agents. And according to a video demonstration, the TAC 700 pepper spray launcher has a strong psychological influence on the people it's being used against because it's so loud and sounds like an automatic machine gun.
Obviously has a lot of unique benefits in that you can control the rate of fire. You have different types of rate of fire, including a 3-round burst option with this system. So it's a good option for agencies that are looking for higher firepower, situations where they anticipate delivering a lot of projectiles, or situations where they want to have that extra psychological advantage when they deploy this in the field. As you can imagine, just hearing that discharge is a strong psychological influence on the people that it's being used against.
Well, luckily, those pepper spray guns weren't being used yesterday. Protesters in California were demonstrating against the killing of a 13-year-old boy last week by a sheriff deputy. He shot the boy 7 times in 10 seconds for carrying a plastic rifle while he was walking down the street. But instead of pointing the blame at that trigger-happy sheriff's deputy, gun grabbers are blaming toy guns. An attorney with a gun control group said police have a hard enough job without also having to be able to quickly determine whether a gun is real or not real. Now, California already requires fake guns to be painted in bright colors, but now State Senator Kevin De Leon wants to extend that to BB and pellet guns as well. Now, never mind the fact that the deputy who shot 13-year-old Lopez 7 times was a firearms instructor and range master who trained his law enforcement colleagues in the proper use of force for nearly 2 decades, and he should have been able to tell that it wasn't a real gun. No, it's not his fault at all. It's the fact that toy guns aren't made in hot pink Nerf foam. And they're not just coming after your toy guns, but ammunition as well.
Gun control more and more is turning into a war on ammunition, leaving no doubt that this is about total disarmament. Gun control groups are pushing for background and registration of ammunition and not just guns. Another new front in the war on ammunition is environmental regulation. California just banned lead bullets for hunting, citing environmental protection. The Center for Biological Diversity has lobbied the EPA, unsuccessfully so far, to regulate ammunition as part of the Toxic Substances Control Act. But now the only ore-to-lead producer in America, the largest in the Western world, has been shut down by EPA regulation. For over 20 years, the company had been researching a wet chemical process and investing $30 million to replace smelting. The new process would have eliminated 99% of all current land, air, and water pollution releases, but EPA's regulatory uncertainty and estimated expense of $100 million to convert caused the company to finally throw in the towel. It's not just ammunition that's disappearing. American industry, American jobs are being regulated out of existence as well. Now, lead's still going to be manufactured in China, but it'll be done without any environmental oversight. It'll be scarce, it'll be expensive, we'll have fragile supply lines. There's more to the shutdown of Doe Run than just shutting down American industry and exporting jobs. It's part of a multi-pronged attack on ammunition. Drying up the market by hoarding all ammunition. Shutting down the market with background checks, registration, and banning of online sales. Using environmental regulation to ban the use and manufacture of lead. And after we can no longer manufacture ammunition domestically, we have the UN Arms Trade Treaty to stop the importation of ammunition. If you look at the multiple ways they're trying to remove all ammunition, not just certain guns that they believe are dangerous, there's no question that this is about all-out gun control. For InfoWars Nightly News, I'm David Knight.
Now stay with us after the show because we're going to be premiering the 2nd season of Conrad the Constitution. And then Jakari Jackson will sit down with Sheriff Mack to give us an update on the sheriff who is facing jail time to defend your Second Amendment right.
Alex Jones here to warn you about some of the most important health information you may ever hear. I'm talking about radiation, radioactive fallout, radioactive particles contaminating the Northern Hemisphere. Conservatively, since the 1940s, the Northern Hemisphere of our planet has more than doubled its background radiation. In fact, that was before Fukushima exploded. Now the levels are going up and up and up. Fish are contaminated in the Pacific, and the FDA, the EPA, and others, they're not worried about it. They've been raising the levels of what they claim is safe radioactive particles. So after more than 2 years of research into how to protect my family, looking at all the literature, talking to the experts, across the board they agreed iodine is key, but of the family of iodine, nascent, natural, non-GMO, non-factory iodine that comes from the earth is absolutely paramount for your thyroid and other functions in the body. The literature, the research, it's there. It's not my opinion. It is admitted that iodine is essential for the health of our bodies overall, and nascent iodine is the best form. Now, we're announcing the launch of InfoWarsLife.com, and we're going to bring you scores of products over the next few years that we're researching and developing. But nascent iodine is the first product we're coming out with because it's so important, and it's also listed as a fluoride detoxer. It does so many other things. Your body needs it, and when you don't have enough iodine, forget the radiation, your thyroid absorbs the sodium fluoride and other things. Nascent iodine and INFOWARS Life Survival Shield in double strength at half the cost of the leading competitors. Please visit InfoWarsLife.com today.